What's up, guys? All right, I'm excited because we have finished phase 1 of making this list. And before we start to filter it, it looks like this list is going to have roughly 300,000 unique Walmart URLs. So let me take a minute to explain this like crazy lines that's behind everything, okay? So on the left here, we have the finished phase 1. So each of these URLs equals 20 Walmart items on average. It's actually like 25 to 36, but then there's situations that come up and sometimes there's less. So on average, you get 20 unique items per link, even though some of the links have 40 and some have 20. Okay? So I now have this list of links. All you need to understand is that each one of these lines represents 20 items, okay? So now we scroll down, and here we have 17,603 of these. So 17,600 times 20, and remember that's the average that we'll pull from the listings. Some will give us more than that, some will give us less. 20 is a fairly accurate number. Sometimes it's like 18, sometimes 22. This is pretty close. So this list represents 352,000 items. The thing is that isn't with all of the there's two phases where you knock out duplicate items. How do I explain this? So each of these searches gives us 20 items on average. But because of the way that we searched for things, some keywords are going to show up in multiple searches, and those items are going to be included in this list twice. So we'll see how that affects it. That's kind of the variable that determines how many listings you end up getting per listing, right? So now you get what this is, or at least have an understanding of it, right? So what I'm doing is I'm going down this list 100 links at a time, doing a chunk like that, and then just copying it and coloring it. That means that I've entered it, right? Then I go into Session Buddy, and I click over here and import, and I open that whole list of 100 links. So then I give the computer a minute or two because it takes a while to load. I usually go off and like pour some tea or do something else. And then it loads all 100 links. And I'm going to actually try and show you this part because I usually don't. But I had the sense to load the links before starting OBS up. So we will see how this goes. We're going to show you how I use macros to convert the links on here into this side, because that's what we're doing. We have a process to get those items out of these links and put those items here, because you can see that these are all Walmart item URLs. Each one of these links points to a specific item on walmart.com. So what we're going to do is illustrate that. Aha, here we go. Okay, so there are 100 tabs open right now, and I am not sure how this is going to work while I'm doing this recording, because normally I don't do this level of bulk work on recording because it screws things up. I only do 10 at a time, which would be like this many. But this is how I typically work. So I'm trying to show it, but bear with me if things get a little bit funky. Okay, so the first phase, we're going to go through this list twice. The first time, we are clicking this button, and that is an extension, a Google Chrome extension that's free, that will convert the web page into a list of every link on the web page. And then we go to the next using Control Tab, and just boom, 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 boom. And so now we're going to go through this whole list. I have to wait to make sure that when I click the page, then the links pull up. Because if you go through it too quickly, then it won't work properly. You have to make sure you're keeping up with the speed of your computer and not going too fast. Because then that'll bite you in the butt later. Because when you come through for the second pass, you'll have an expired link and you'll lose every item that was in that search result. And so one of the reasons I like doing this, even though you can use software for it, is that it flashes a sample of what I'm bulk posting, or at least what I'm making, right in front of me. And then that gives me a good sense of like, okay, this is the kind of items, anytime I see something in bold, that's one of the items we're going to target. Because this list that we're making we're not going to just post these items. We still got a ways to go before we get to that point. We are making the big list. And then we need to trim out and isolate the items that we want to sell. And that's not going to be most of them. So I'm counting on about 300,000 unique items in this list. And we're trying to trim it down to 100,000. So 2 out of 3, we're going to get rid of 2/3 of the list. I'm not sure I'll be able to do that, because I haven't really done it on this scale before. So I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to make the list big enough to post 100,000 items. But I'm trying, definitely trying. So this part, I know it looks confusing because there's a lot of flashing on the screen, but I'm just doing the same thing over and over and over again. You don't really need to worry too much about understanding this in too much detail. I just want to show it to you so you have a kind of understanding of the workflow this entails, and then give you a sense of how much more of this I need to do. Here we go. So we got to the beginning of the list. So now we have a problem. We have every other link on this list is the website, but we don't care about the website anymore. Also, we don't want every link on the page. So on the second pass, we close that with Control W, and then you copy /IP and put it into the text box, and then Control Tab, and then you keep doing the same thing. I messed up there. Here we go. I call this part weaving, because you just hit the same 3 keys over and over again, over and over again. I just did it in the wrong order. I don't really do this when I'm recording. It's funny. It's actually quite similar to playing a instrument when you get, because usually I listen to music. And see, you guys saw there was a knife there, right? So what I've done is built much bigger databases now of keywords that are like bad keywords. So there's a list of good keywords and then a list of bad keywords. And I've been looking as things come up, like when they get flashed to me like this. If I can see that it's something bad that I haven't addressed a keyword in, then I will look at the title of the item and add something so that that item would be included in the kind of elimination phase of our keyword kind of scanning and all that fun stuff. All right, so there. Piggy bank. This is a raw list, so remember, parts of this I like and parts I really don't like. But we're not going to use all of this, so that's okay. That is okay. In this part, normally, I'm recording now, so my brain is a bit used. Normally, I count every link that I do, so I know that when I get close to 100, so I'm like, all right, I can just focus on doing this. Okay, 1, 2, 3, okay. But see what I just did? I just deleted one of the beginning pages, and I tend to do that like at least once, sometimes twice. Okay, now we're going to use a macro, because we have this list here, and this is now a list of every URL from that search result. It's in a retrievable form, right? We just have to click on this copy button. So I recorded a macro earlier I'm not sure it's going to work because we have so many tabs open and it's recording, but we're going to try. So what this macro is doing is it's just going to click this copy button and then paste it into this file here that's called raw29k. Then it's going to go to the next tab and do the same thing over and over and over again. And I know there's 100 tabs, so I watch it or like write or do something while it's working, and because sometimes it messes up, but this one's been pretty good. Warning though, I haven't ran it while I'm recording, and stuff tends to kind of go nuts when I'm recording, but we'll see. All right, let's see. Okay, seems to be okay at the moment. So what's happening, you can see at the top left corner of the screen, that's the MacroBuddy interface. There's a little pause button and a stop button and an eject button. If you look at the far end of that, there's a number. That number is now 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, right? I know that the macro has been run as many times as that number. So because this list is about 100 items, then I know that I need to stop it right as it gets to like 101, or it's fine if it gets a little bit past it, because removing doubles is like almost an instantaneous thing that you can do. So it's really not that big of a deal. You want to err on the side of giving yourself duplicates of things instead of missing things, if that makes sense. But yeah, so it's almost done. That's really awesome. That actually worked quite well on the recording. I'm surprised, genuinely surprised. So see, now it came through, it finished that list, and then went to the next one. So now what I would do, normally, I'm not going to do it now because of the recording, I would close this, not close it, but minimize it, and then I would just go on to the next one, because that was the one that we just did, because I loaded it earlier. So I would just open this and then repeat the whole process over again. And this is all stuff you can automate, but right now, I think it's really important for me to understand all of the ins and outs of this and really pay attention to all the different keywords. And I have been way more diligent about my keyword lists now. I actually just kind of did it by memory for most of the things before, but now we have tons of keywords. This is a list of bad keywords. So I have half a page, and I have them written just because I see them every day, and I realize them at different points throughout the day, so I just keep the list close by and add to it. But most of these are related to getting weapons and guns and anything that's the bad kind of policy violation out, and that's the focus. And then I'm going to go through and add every keyword associated with every Vero violation that I got in the past. So this is pretty thorough at the moment. But the reason that I'm more concerned about the weapon violations is because even though you can have too many Vero violations, but most of the time you get enough time to respond to them that it's not really that much of a problem. But there are situations where like a weapon gets posted and then they punish that harsher. You kind of get dinged for it straight away. You don't have time to take it down really. So it's best to be more diligent about making sure that you don't post those kinds of items. But the Vero list is also easier to make, honestly, because that's all things that are included in emails, because I have every single email that I've gotten saying that there's a violation, so I can just search my email inbox for the violations and then just put those all into a text file, and then use the keywords in those violations and the companies that triggered them to make sure that I don't get the repeat violations, because that's what I'm learning about Vero, and with my experience doing this in the past, the bulk posting, is that eBay doesn't seem to be too concerned with it happening once, but when it happens over for the same claimant, so you can have tons and tons of Vero violations as long as they're all from different people who you haven't had a problem with in the past. Once you start making a pattern of the same people putting, like they're telling you to take your items down, so you take all of them down, but then later you end up posting another one of their items, that situation, that can lead to some trouble. But yeah, all right. So now you guys understand this part of the process. This is just step 1 of making this huge list of items. So we got to get the raw items, the raw list of items, right? And the raw list of items is going to be, like this is going to be bigger than 300,000 items. This one, I estimate I'll have 300,000 unique items here. But you can see so far, like, okay, there are duplicates, right? So if we want, we can look at this. All right, I know what I'm going to talk to you guys about. Let's make an estimate based on what we've done so far that shows us exactly how many unique item URLs we're going to get. And in this list, this is unique URLs before we start trimming out the known problematic keywords. Okay, we're going to go through and eliminate a lot of problematic items, whether it leads to like too many questions, or there's an increased chance of that item being related to a variation, or personalized items, or items that are like what I deem like crap items. There's a whole bunch of stuff like that. There's so many steps to it at this point. So what we can do is just work in Sublime Text at the moment. So in order to understand this part, all you got to know is that this is the raw output of those links. But there's some problems with it. There's a lot of duplicates, right? So we got to get rid of those pretty quickly, and that's fine. We can just highlight this customer review link and then click Control Find. Alt Enter, and then that's going to delete every occurrence of customer review. You could also delete the line, but I usually just delete the part that makes the link unique so that it's then a duplicate, because then when you select everything, now look at this number, 37,000. I know you can't really see the number. I apologize about that. I know that the screen's small. You don't gotta, these are just Walmart links. Don't worry about reading them too much. But this number is 37,000, almost 38,000, 37,872. Okay. So we are going to get rid of all of the unique items by going to Permute Lines and then clicking Unique. And now, look at that. So of this, wow, that's actually really good. I'm genuinely impressed by that. Huh. Of that list of items, we have 27,000 unique items. So in that list, there were roughly 10,000 duplicates. But that's not bad, because I've worked with a duplicate rate of like 70% are duplicates, and your list just disappears when you do that, right? So this is good. This is promising. 27,000. Now, to make an estimate about how big this list of items is, let's do some math here. So we know that these 13,000 links, or these 1,300 links, have been completed. Those 1,300 links, after we got rid of the duplicates, resulted in a list of 27,000 items, unique items. We haven't gone through and filtered the bad ones out, but we have a list of 27,000 different Walmart URLs with no duplicates. So what we need to figure out is, okay, 1,300 of these produced 27,000, right? So we can get 27,000 and we divide it by 1,300. So look at that. Isn't that cool? It's funny that it's a pretty predictable number. Like I was saying earlier, each one of these links represents, on average, 20 items, even though these links in reality have between like 18 and 20 or 18 and 30 something retrievable items. And one thing that's good about this as well is I need to explain a bit more about how I created this list of items, okay? Because this list of search results, if you watched the previous episode, I know, guys, that was long, and these are going to be some really heady episodes because there's a lot to this that I need to explain, especially when I'm doing it at this scale, right? So we made the list of search results, and each one of those search results represented roughly 20 items, right? And that's this metric here. And these are unique items per search result. So we understand that. But I need to explain that I shuffled all of those results. So we started with keywords, right? Let's start from the beginning. We had good keywords that we used, and those keywords were used to make Walmart searches using the keyword, and Walmart.com only, right? So doing that, we created this list. But we created that list in a specific order as we searched for keywords, right? And if you noticed earlier, I was kind of paying attention as things were being flashed forward. You only look at them for a second, but it gives you a sense of what's getting posted. And if you don't shuffle it, then it makes you prone to looking too much at one specific small part of your bulk posting. Because if you are letting one page influence a decision, you could be relying on a representation that's like less than 1% of the items that you're posting. You're talking about 20 items, right? And so if that one page looks good and you judge a whole other page or a whole bunch of other pages based on that page and don't miss things, it's really important when you're going through it that I think that you shuffle everything. Because then as you're going through it, you may have only done the first, here, we've only done the first 1,300 links, right? But because I shuffled the list prior to making it, it's easier to go through it because you get a sense of the problematic items. You're more likely to notice the problems, and it gives you a more accurate assessment of what your list of items looks like. Because if you post it in order, you're going to be you're just not going to be exposed to everything as mixed as you need to be if you want to really understand what's getting posted, because it's just different, okay? So just trust me. All right. So what should I discuss next? I think that might be it, because now I've shown you the process that I'm using, and I have so much longer to go, guys. Like, holy crap. I got like 4 more days to do this. But look here, 1,300, right? In total, this list represents 17,600 items. So I am that math's not right. I'm not that far, but I'm like a 5% done. It's fantastic. I did my math wrong there, guys. I apologize. I know in these like confusing, long, drawn-out things, I should probably be pretty on point with my math and take the time to explain things. But I think that's about it for this episode. Now you know. Yeah, sorry, I keep saying I shouldn't do that. Now you know what I'm doing. So I should talk to you about the next step, which is going to be when we have finished making this big list, right? We're going to have a file in Sublime Text here that has unique URLs like this. These are 27,000 unique URLs, right? Except instead of 27,000, we're going to have roughly 300,000. So from that point, I'm going to reuse the list of keywords that I made this list with. Okay, and this is important to understand, that you do these multiple passes using the keywords, right? So let's go to Walmart.com and let's make this bigger so you can see what's going on. I have a list of keywords that I used to create the item in the beginning, but Walmart doesn't necessarily show you. It doesn't necessarily give you the items that you want. It will give you the items it thinks that you want, right? So here we search for every occurrence of the item name set. Okay, so this has the word set, but this kit does not have the word set. Okay, so what I'm doing is making a list of good keywords that I then search the raw file for, because I need to make sure to get as many good items and as few bad items as possible. So I pay a lot of attention to the kinds of items in these lists, right? And I haven't fully explained this concept to you. I know it's confusing, but if you understand this part, then it really helps. It's like the form of optimization and bulk. It's the way that you optimize your bulk postings. You first have these huge lists, these raw lists, right? And then you develop a system to get rid of a lot of the items, like a lot of them. And so by having a double pass, and I haven't explained that now, so let me explain what the double pass thing is. We made the list with this keyword set. That made Walmart give us a list of 1,000 items it thinks are related to set. Okay? So now then we get the raw list here, and we can go through this and search for that same keyword and take every item that shows up, and then put each of those items into a new list, which is going to be called phase 3. Okay. Oh, sorry. Phase 3. File. Save. Boom. Awesome. Great. I know this is heady. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. It's boring. And it's not something that I've explained a whole lot, and I'm not that great at explaining it. So I will get better. I promise. I promise. Let's try again. We have the keyword that we got the list with. We have the raw list of items. This list has the items in it that Walmart thought were what we wanted, but we don't really want. So we have to get those out of this list. And one way to do that is to just do a second pass where you search for the same keyword you used to create the list, right? And then you would pull every item. So I imagine I just copied every occurrence of the word set. I copied the URL it happens in. So I have all the URLs that have set in them. And so then we take it and we paste that into the phase 3. So step by step, we take a chunk of these listings and put them in here. Okay? That's when we're doing the positive filter, the second filter. But we also need to do the negative filter. And I'm not sure which to do first, because I could do the negative filter on the raw list of items, so that will eliminate every bad item on here at the beginning. Because it's in my best interest to keep one version of this that has all of the bad links taken out. So maybe instead of taking the good links out straight away, what I would do is now edit this, because it's considered a raw list right now, so there's no filtering done. So I think what I would do is go through and get rid of the bad items first, and then go through and search the list and take all of the keywords that I used to create the list in the first place, plus others. You can actually use more keywords than you use to create the list, because imagine that like you use the keyword plate. Plate is going to show up in other search results aside from its original search result. So you don't necessarily have to use the same keywords that you used at the beginning, but you do have to have a kind of a pass like that, where you acknowledge that you made a list of raw items. You should not just post those items. You need to figure out, okay, Walmart has smeared the items that I want with a bunch of other gook. So I need to separate those items from the ones that I actually want to get posted. And that's how or why we use the positive and negative filter. And I apologize that I keep changing the terminology up on you. I haven't figured out what to call things yet because I'm still like figuring this out myself. But it would make sense to have a negative and a positive filter. And so you understand that the way the negative filter works is, okay, each filter is just a list of keywords. That's it. So there's a lot of different lists. This is the negative filter. So going through this gets rid of all of the occurrences of words associated with problems or Vero, copyright, all of that stuff. That's what the negative list takes care of. Then the positive list is how you isolate the items you actually want to post from the crappy items, right? Because it's not just that there's items that are going to cause problems, it's also that there's items that are way less, or that are less likely to produce a sale in the first place, right? And a lot of these items, let me show you what these kind of items look like. I'm going to try and find an example. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to, but maybe. Let's see. We're going to search for something, what's a kind of bad keyword? Pear. Oh, pear. I never thought of pear. Huh. That sounds like a good one. I'll add. Nice, 10,000. And so now, with this kind of mentality we have, let's take a look at this page. Imagine, all right, I didn't add this keyword pair into my posting process. But let's look at this first page and see how many of these items would the positive filter affect and how many items would the negative filter affect. So here, pair would retrieve this item. Here, because the word set occurs, this would have been retrieved in a previous search. Here, the word pack was used, so this would be retrieved in a previous search. And the more keywords in the item, then it's like, oh, it's I don't know, it just feels good when you recognize that there's multiple keywords that would trigger it as an item to get sold. Interesting. Most of these wouldn't get posted. This would get rejected. Think, because, well, I didn't actively, maybe I won't reject all car stuff, but I'm rejecting most automobile stuff in the negative filter. Pair. Okay, you know, I'm convinced. I'm going to get this item and add it to the search result. And that's what I like about this bulk posting process, right? Because I don't think of the full list straight away, but I can think of most of the beginning of the list, right? And you can think of the beginning of the list as this list that we were looking at in our Google Sheet file, right? Because this is really, I made this list, and now I don't have to find any new items. This list represents roughly 300,000 items, right? But as I start going through the list, I realize that there are some things that I'm forgetting, and I want to add more because I'm not sure I'm going to have enough items. So I'll kind of redo the beginning parts and add things to the list. Keep in mind, this will break that kind of scenario where we're shuffling the items to give us an accurate representation of what's going on. So to work around that, it's quite simple. You just find where you finished posting, right? So we finished converting all of these links. So you would just copy everything except what you've already done, put it in another file, and then add the new links to that, reshuffle it, which Sublime Text does really quickly, and then just paste it back into Google Sheets. Because that would separate these ones, and you would retain the shuffled thing, which is good because then you're more likely, it gives you a seriously much better overview of what your items look like, because you want to kind of establish like, all right, if I do this wrong, there's going to be like 30% of my inventory that's one specific thing that's in millions of variations that's going to screw everything up. You got to think about, you want as many unique items, specific items that aren't variations and aren't weapons, aren't stuff associated with problems, aren't electronics. And I'm only posting items that are between $10 and $35. So I made a change to my minimum. I was using 5, but now I'm using 10 as the minimum. And that's because, in my experience, Walmart sometimes mislabels items, especially pack of items. And there's items that I could tell by the price were not for the quantity that they were advertised at. And almost all of those were items that were just, instead of saying 6-pack, it said 6-pack, 4-pack. And, that means 24 items. But in reality, it's just one 4-pack or one 6-pack or whatever was actually right. So I upped it to $10. Also because most of the items that sell cost around $10. Not most of them, but more items sell for this price than the cheaper price based on my posting in the past. So we want to be a bit more specific. And remember that we want there to be a chance for every single item in this list for it to result in profitable multi-quantity sales. Because getting those multi-quantity sales to happen is key. That is where the money comes from. So by keeping our list populated with items that are priced to include $6 shipping, then we can really benefit the second that somebody orders a second of an item or 2 in one order. That means an additional $6 straight away because we don't pay shipping costs on that second item. And then whatever the calculated profit of the sale was in the first place. So you could actually have a scenario that one thing I've wanted to work on is having a business where you actually run most of your items at a break-even point, like a penny or profit or something like that, just to see if that can get you to have more of those multi-quantity sales, because you can earn so much money from those multi-quantity sales. I've always wanted to try that, but I've been too scared because it just means more sales, and I don't like not earning money per sale. So I usually try and earn like between $5 and $10 per sale. That's usually ideal, because then I'm excited about the sales. If it's like pennies, it's like, geez, this is frustrating. But if you outsource that kind of stuff, whole different story, right? Okay, so I'm going to add this keyword, and then I'm going to end the recording. These episodes are going to be long, guys, and I know a lot of people aren't going to watch all of them, but that's okay, because this is important. All right, so what we need to do now is retrieve 10 URLs, each representing roughly 1,000 items from this search result. We can see here that the keyword pair, limited $10 to $35, only for sale by Walmart.com, has 10,000 results. So we want to catch as many of those results as we can. So what I'm going to do now is go open this tool from Google Sheets. Google Sheets. Here we go. Link grabber help. This is the one you saw me using previously. So this is the same stuff that you saw me do in the first video, mostly. But it doesn't happen just once at the beginning. You really also want to take all of the items that you get as you're working on the list and making it bigger, right? So now that we have this, let's copy that. And this is a 20. Not a 40, right? So that's relevant. We got to pay attention to that because it's going to be useful later. Now we're going to open this and make this our whole file. And I just pasted in the first Walmart link. We're trying to retrieve 10,000 items. So I think that's 10. We'll see. we're probably not going to get that many. We'll get less than that. And we want them to be between $10 and $35. So here, we're going to change the price of this so that we try and get as close to 1,000 as we can, but ideally a little bit over it. I'm probably going to have to go back to 12 there. Yeah. 10 to 12. Okay, and then you go to the next tab and you start off at the place you ended before. And you get a sense of like, okay, that's too much, right? So let's actually just try one. 755, pretty close. So we're going to lose a lot in this. See, we're going to lose 400. But that's fine. I'm not too worried about it. Now it's going to be 14, right? 12 to 14, yeah. 14 to, I don't know, 18? Nah, 17. It feels satisfying when you guess it. Because you think you know a pattern. Some of them are really reliable. Every $100, every increment. But some are really chaotic and not reliable at all. It's a shuffle. A dice roll. Bum, 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 bum. 16. Oh, I never played my music. I completely forgot about that. Completely forgot. Alright, well, now you get some... This is creepy music. Freaky flute. No, we don't want freaky. Ambient flute. Okay, I can dig that. I can dig that. Let's go back to our work over here. 16 to... What are we going to go with? 19. Go, go, go. Oh, close. 16 to 18. Why do I feel like I made a mistake? No, 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 that's good. Wow, that one was perfect. It's satisfying when it's very close to 1,000. 21. Oh, too high, too high. Perfect. That was 20, right? I'm not so great at this. 20 to 22. No. 24. Oh, I think, yeah. See, because you're always gambling your time, whether it's worth it. Oh, it was worth it. Wow, that was perfect. I almost didn't do that one. All right. 20, 23 to 28. Ah, close. Probably 27. Ooh, maybe 26. No, I don't think so. 27 to 31. Ooh, too high. 29. Nope. Sometimes, you know, the way that the items are stored, it really goes against you sometimes, but this time it's okay. So 27 to 30. Okay. Now we're probably at the end of the list now. I'm gonna try 32, but yeah, this price part past $30, Walmart tends to not have as many products. Yeah, right. So that's a $5 increment, and it has 1,000 products. Okay. So we don't need this anymore, so we got to the end of it, or we got to 35. So obviously we didn't get all of that, but we did get a lot of that search result. So now what we need to do, I usually move this tool to the end of the list, and then I put it over here, and then we open up Sublime Text, except we have it over like that, and we have our raw 29K list. We're going to eliminate the phase 3, because if you have multiple tabs open in Sublime Text like this, then it just gets problematic. Just try to only work with one when you're working with macros like I am, because if you don't notice, you might be inserting the links into the wrong file, and then it just wastes your time. So I usually try and just keep one thing open in Sublime Text when I'm working with macros. All right. So now, oh, I forgot to do the page filter. Okay, so these aren't gonna work. So I'm gonna have to change part of the, I'm gonna have to change part of the link. So we're gonna copy it, delete it, and then we're gonna paste it up here. But then it's gonna error, right? And that's because the page is set to 2, not 1, not 2. So we're gonna fix that real quick. And then now, how many of these links do we need to copy? Okay, there are 20 per page. So that means that Walmart will show 50 links total because they'll show 1,000 items. All right, so now we put this over here. Wait, no, that's not right. Sorry, I'm pasting this into the wrong list. Okay. What I'm gonna do is open the right list, which is here. There we go. So now we just paste all of those links to the bottom of this list. Come on, scrolling up, scrolling up. Here we go. So we copy, then here, and paste special, paste values only. Because this list is populated with formulas, so you want to make sure that you're pasting the links themselves, not the formulas, right? Bum, 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 bum. I'm confused here. This doesn't look. Oh, that's right. Okay. So you can see here, I was going to say this list isn't shuffled, but see how these numbers are all changing? This list is shuffled. But then if we scroll down, there's going to be a point where I've been adding new items, right? There we go. See? These items are all not shuffled. So after I finish adding the items, then I'll go through and shuffle the whole list. So then as I post the items, I'll see things that I just added to the list now. No!
No.
What? Gracias. Alright, sorry about that. Okay, so now I need to keep doing that for all of these items. Oh, I just made the typical mistake where I skipped this step. Paste this. We need to fix this. Then get our list of items. And paste values only. Woohoo! Alright. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, I've been looking at spreadsheets all day. Never thought I'd say that. I was not exactly an individual that possessed the level of organization necessary to use a spreadsheet, even in its most basic form. I always thought the concept of a spreadsheet was just corporate. Didn't like it. But Google Sheets is amazing. I love it. It is awesome. Step by step by step. Alright, as soon as we finish this, then you'll understand the initial part. Once we do, this is the most tedious part. Once we're done with this, and don't worry, there's not going to be any more videos showing me making this list, alright? The next episode is going to be the whole list is made. We have our row list, so now we're doing our negative and our positive filters, okay? That's going to be great. And actually, on the note of that, I'm going to end the video because I'm not going to show you the same thing over and over again. You get the point, and I feel like I'm boring you. All right, guys. See you next time. Ciao.